just got to watch your movie, The Runner.
Cool, thank you.
So congratulations on that. Why don't we start by having you sort of set the scene for people and talk a little bit about the plot of the film and your character, who's the focus of it.
The cool part about this movie, it's really about a kid turned informant who has to pretty much bust down a kingpin, and there's a lot more that goes into it. But the most interesting aspect that I find with this movie, or the take that the director put on it, was it's all about the day that it goes down, right? So a lot of times there's a lot of background information, getting to know the characters, the story, the world setting, so on, and then there's the plot. But in this case, we just start on the day of the plot, and you're slowly catching up somewhat with some clues and some backstory, understanding and learning about what's what's troubling this kid, what's happened, why he's in this position, why everything is going on. And so it's an interesting take to it, because it's almost every single, including the protagonist, which would be Aiden, my character, everyone is almost an antagonist at the beginning. It's a very kind of rough approach to every character and their imperfections, and then slowly you start to see them in a better light. And I think that applies for almost all the characters. A sense of understanding almost,
Yeah, you get a little bit of the multi-dimensional perspective of it.
Yeah.
So what, I mean, this guy's in a rough place. I mean, how did you approach portraying him? What did you want to show about this character who's in this really tough spot?
It's funny because every time I try to make all the answers as genuine as possible, and not sort of built to be a simple answer, but to try to be simple about it. When I lost a lot of weight. That was one of the biggest things for me when I did this movie. But when I was watching other people do it, or any other actors who have done any weight loss or movies or any kind of drug movies, whatever, they don't really go into it as much. And so for me, the complete truth is I had no idea what I was doing. This was one of my first movies, but definitely one of my lead. It was my first lead. And I think I was in, out of 105 scenes, I was in 103 or 102 of them. So wow. There's no way around the fact that, okay, this is what you have to do. And it was the first time I had to do it. And so I had lost a lot of weight. I tried to get into, the sort of that world. I fought with the director a lot about it because she didn't want me to do it, because I took it a little bit too far, and at points we had issues with it. But I pretty much said, okay, I'm going to try to act as little as possible and just be as close to that as possible, with realistic limitations and somewhat being able to distance yourself from it. But it was very much that. I mean, I remember I was usually the first one on set, the first one off set, because whatever, this kid in the movie, he always goes for that morning run, and it's assumed that every day he does the same process. So that's what I did. So it was a very realistic approach to it. It wasn't all the hokey pokey acting technique. No. It was just do it, and then hopefully it'll show. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. So you said you lost a lot of weight. How much weight did you lose? How did you do that?
Oh, I ended up being about 35 pounds at the end of it. Yeah, I had to be put in a it was hospitalized a little bit because I had to make sure that I was lacking a lot of things, and I started slowly, because the cool thing about this project was I auditioned for 3 months almost in an acting school. And so I got the opportunity to kind of read it. And at the time I was very bulky, whatever. I was trying to be, as muscular and as, blonde hair, blue eye, like the package. I don't know. I don't know what people wanted. So that's what I was going for. And I got it, and I thought, okay, well, I'll play one of the jocks, but man, this main character is really interesting. And every single page has had a synonym for skinny or starving or whatever. So I said, oh, this would be really interesting. Convinced the director to let me do it. And I didn't tell her. I think I lost like 28 pounds or 25 pounds. I didn't tell her that I was losing weight. I went back to Europe, where I'm originally from, France and Finland. And I just started losing the weight, like, progressively, because I wanted to make sure, okay, if I'm going to do this, this was also a time where it was pretty much either I'm going to act or not act, because everyone around me this is like the chance. So I tried to go kind of my version of all out with it, but it was incredible. Yeah. 8 months. And then around a month or 2 months before, that's when it dropped really drastically down to, I remember what it was, like 135 pounds. I don't know, 100, something like that. It was very, very low.
Wow, that's intense. That's commitment.
Yeah, it was great. But it also, it definitely puts you in the shoes of it. So
Yeah,
um,
for sure. What
it's
was
cool.
your the toughest scene for you to shoot in the film?
Um, well, there wasn't really a toughest scene, and the way this movie was very indie, and so everyone was doing everything and helping each other out. So a lot of the times, the director was doing a lot of stuff, and she's also producing, and she has all the children and stuff like that. I mean, she's a force to be reckoned with by in itself. It's incredible all the things she was juggling at the time. So I would go to the DP and we just talk about scenes and different scenes we like in movies and different shots, and suddenly we say, oh, what if you did this, and what if you did that? And so we started, everything was, since I had such an access to everything, not that I was deciding anything, but I got to be so involved, nothing was very intimidating. I would say the second day was probably the hardest day, but also the best day, because I'd never cried on screen. I'd never been put in that situation, and I think the second day had three of the most important shots of all of the whole movie. The first day was only pickup shots, so no dialogue, no nothing. You just got to kind of get the feel for the crew and everyone. The second day was pretty much everything, and I remember doing that, and I got out of that bathroom when we were shooting it, and some people were crying, and someone comes up to me and says, "Oh, thank God you can act," because we were scared of going home. And so that. Thank God I didn't know that at the time, but that's kind of a little bit where you're like, okay, that was tricky, but good that I didn't know that there was that pressure or expectation. So the crew is really, really sweet and supportive.
That's funny. So, yeah, Cameron Douglas plays your antagonist in the film. What was it like working with Cameron on the movie?
Oh, I love him. He's my older brother. He's incredible. The first day, I think his first day was his birthday too. So it was just like a really lovely feeling to it. Uh, we did some rehearsal where we went very much all out, especially that scene by the car outside. We did all of that very much realistic and everything, and we wanted to really, you know, I don't speak on his behalf, but he knew this world a lot, and some of these places, even we were shooting, he was familiar with them. So he really took me under his wing, and he saw that, the shape I was in, and the the effort I was putting in. I think it kind of, I was treating it as if it was real, so to say. So he was very much there to support me and help me and guide me in his way, And at the end of it, we just formed such a good relationship. I remember we would take off lunch or dinners or whatever it was. We wouldn't have it with the crew. We'd go to a Burger King or whatever, just so we can have some time to talk and stuff. But I couldn't eat. So I would just sit there and watch him eat burgers, and he'd make fun of me almost. It was such a weird situation, but it was fun. It was definitely fun.
And finally, you've got a role as Mad Hatter in Get Lost.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that role and what that movie's going to be like.
I have no idea. It's a trippy movie, man. It's a very surreal. It was a very surreal experience. We were in Budapest for like about, I think about 2 months shooting it, everything on location. It's no Disney stuff. It's very much, instead of making hats, it's stencil work. I don't know if you're familiar with stencil work, but it's very aggressive of an art form of spray painting and art. So it was just very, very surreal, but it's going to be incredible. Cast was incredible. And what's great is since the runner, and this is kind of what, when you ask me about kind of process, I guess, for me, it's less about process because I genuinely don't know anything about process, but having a good group of people around you and keeping you humble in that way and helping you out and supporting you, I think is for me one of the biggest attributes. So I have my one of my best friends who I met at the acting school, and now manager, an assistant who was with me on the runner, where I met him, and he was kind of experiencing that for the first time, and he came over on Get Lost, and he came over on every project I've done ever since. And so having that has always been such a key, so to answer that question, I got to be in Budapest for 2 months playing a dream role with my best buddy, and what could be better?